Welcome back to the English Pronunciation Workshop. In this video, we'll discuss digraphs and phonetic skill number 4. So in previous videos, we talked about the consonant sounds in English and mentioned that we have both voiced and unvoiced consonants, but I mentioned that this isn't a complete list of all English consonant sounds, and that's because some of them are digraphs. So we'll cover those digraphs in this video. A digraph is a sound that's represented instead of by one letter, by two letters. Part of the problem that we need to do this in English is that the English alphabet system is not a good match for the English sound system. There aren't enough consonant letters to represent all of the sounds that we use in English. And so there are some combinations that we use, particularly with the letter H, that represent these digraph sounds. So the first one is the ch sound. This is a voiceless version of the j sound, the j sound in English. But the voiceless version is ch. And so we see it in words like chess and at the end of the word, much. Then we have the sh sound, which is the sh sound. This is a voiceless sound. Now, there is a voiced version of this sound, which is the zh sound, but we don't have a good letter system for this in English either. We often see this sound maybe represented in words by maybe an S, like in the word measure, okay? But the sh sound is much more common in English. We see it both at the beginning and at the middle of words like shop and wish. Then there is the wh digraph. Now, in older forms of English, the WH digraph used to have a specific sound, which was kind of the h sound, but the h sound is disappearing from American English. And so most American English speakers pronounce the WH sound just as a W sound, like when and which, instead of when and which. Then we have the TH sounds. There's actually two TH sounds, even though they are spelled the same in English. And so one of them is the voiced version, the th sound, and the other one is the voiceless version, the th sound. When I'm teaching students to create this sound, often they come from language backgrounds that just don't have a TH equivalent. And so we teach them that although most American English speakers will place their tongue between their teeth to make this sound, you can get a comparable sound by pushing your tongue against the front of your teeth. So the th or th sound. And so we see it in words like that and bathe, that's the voiced version, or in thin and path, and those are the voiceless versions. Now there are some other digraph symbols that we use in English, often borrowed for other reasons into English. For example, the PH digraph, which makes the F sound in English. We see it in words like phone or graph. Then we have the GN. This is not a very common digraph of English, but sometimes we see it in some words like gnat and gnome. The G is completely silent. We just pronounce the N sound. The same is true for the KN digraph in English. Now in English, we just pronounce the N sound, so knife or not. We have a CK digraph in English, which is almost kind of like a double letter, two K sounds really, but they just make one sound together. And so we see it at the end of words like truck and rack. And then there is the WR digraph, which just makes the R sound. We see it at the beginning of some words like wren or wrist. Let's just stop for a moment here and talk about that CK digraph. That CK digraph makes the K sound, as we talked about, and it appears in one-syllable words where the word ends with a short vowel sound followed by a K sound. So here's some example words: pick, struck, deck, shack, and lock. All of these words use a short vowel sound. So if you have to think about, should I be writing a K at the end of the word or a CK at the end of the word, think about the vowel sound that comes right before that K sound. If it's a short vowel sound, then you're usually going to be using that CK spelling. Now, on the other hand, in our yellow box here, if the word has a long vowel sound or another type of vowel sound, then it's followed by the K sound, then it doesn't need the CK digraph. We can just use the normal K letter. So in the word beak or steak, park, took, nook, these don't use short vowel sounds. They use long vowel sounds, they use R-controlled vowel sounds, or they use other types of vowels. In these cases, we can just represent the K sound with the letter K. We don't need the CK digraph. Now, in our light gray box, you'll notice that when we have a two-syllable word that ends with a short vowel sound and a K sound, then we only use the C spelling. We drop the K. So here's some example words: basic, lilac, classic, picnic. Okay, even though these have a short vowel, we're using just the letter C because they are two-syllable words. Now, one exception to this is compound words. If a word is made up of two separate words that come together, then we might still see that CK spelling. So in the word like backpack or candlestick or starstruck, we're still going to use that CK spelling following a short vowel sound, even though it has more than one syllable, because the word is really a compound word. That's two separate words that come together. So let's do a review of our vowels phonetic skills again. Phonetic skill 1 says that when a word is followed by one guardian consonant, the vowel will be short. Phonetic skill 2 says that when the word or the vowel is followed by two guardian consonants, then the vowel will also be short. In this example with the word bench, we have two guardians. One of those guardians is the letter N. The other guardian is a digraph. And we'll represent this as one guardian because even though it's two letters, it's just one sound. Ch is one sound that we represent with two letters in the English system. When you have a digraph like this, you want to represent a digraph with an arc underneath it, similar to what we do with the blend. Okay, and this just reminds us that these two letters stay together in words. And in this particular case, they make just one sound. So this word bench would also have a short vowel sound. Now here's another example of a word that's using a digraph, okay, the sh at the beginning of the word. So we would mark that, then we mark the vowel, but there's no guardians here. And so this follows phonetic skill number 3. That means it will have a long vowel sound. So our word is she. Now phonetic skill number 4 says that when a vowel is followed by an adjacent vowel, the second vowel will be silent and the first vowel will be long. So what we're looking for is when two vowels appear immediately together in a word. So in this word soak, we would go under the word, we mark our first vowel, immediately we see another vowel and we mark it as well. Now we know we've got adjacent vowels and we're going to be dealing with phonetic skill number 4. So when we go through the word, we don't even need to mark our guardian consonant because we know it will not affect the pronunciation of this word because we're dealing with adjacent vowels. And adjacent vowels means that the second vowel will be silent. So we'll draw a line through it. It will not be pronounced. And the first vowel becomes long. And we will mark it with that macron, that line, over the first vowel to show that it is long. So it makes the O sound. This word is soak, not so-ack, because that A does not make a sound. So it's soak. Let's look at another example here. Okay, this word we're going to mark our blend under the word. Then we mark a vowel. We see a second vowel. Now we know it follows phonetic skill number 4. So we know that the second vowel will be silent, which means the first vowel will be long. The word will be plain. Here's another example. This word has two digraphs. So we'll mark our first digraph, then we'll mark both of our vowels. We immediately see that this word It follows phonetic skill number 4 because there's adjacent vowels. Now we can still mark our second digraph to remind us that the letter combination makes the TH sound, but we don't need to mark it as a guardian consonant. The second vowel will be silent and the first one will be long. The word will be wreath, wreath. Let's just talk a little bit about adjacent vowel spelling patterns in English. The long A can come from an AI or an AY spelling. The AI tends to appear at the beginning or middle of a word. The AY spelling tends to appear near the middle or the end of the word. Long E usually comes from two main spellings, the EA or the double E. The EA tends to appear towards the beginning or middle of a word, whereas the EE appears in the middle or the end of a word. The long O has two forms as well, the OA or the OE. OA appears at the beginning or middle of a word, whereas the OE is more likely to appear at the end of a word. Then our long U sound can come from UI or UE. Again, UI is more likely to appear in the middle of the word, whereas UE appears more at the end of a word. And then we have the long I coming from the adjacent vowels of IE, and that appears at the end of words. So those are the spelling patterns that if you can learn those and help your students learn them, you will better recognize the phonetic skill number 4 and the sounds that those letter combinations will make. It can also help you predict which letter combination to use in a word, knowing whether it's near the beginning or the end of the word. So in this video, we talked about digraphs, which are two letters that make one sound. And we can mark those in words the same way we would mark a blend by putting an arc under them. The only difference is if they're ever a guardian consonant, a digraph counts as one guardian consonant, not two. Even though it has two letters, it's just one sound. We also discussed phonetic skill number 4, which deals with adjacent vowels. When we see adjacent vowels and we mark both of them, we immediately know this word will follow phonetic skill number 4. The second vowel will be silent, the first one will be long, and we can mark it that way. So now we've learned about 2 phonetic skills that deal with short vowels and 2 phonetic skills that deal with long vowels. We have one more phonetic skill to deal with, and it also deals with long vowels, and we'll learn that in our next unit.